Good morning, everybody. Um, it's morning for the ones who are currently in that part of the world where it's morning, good evening, and good afternoon to the rest of the participants and attendees and organizers. My name is Sweta Patnaik. I'm a lecturer in the Department of Clothing and Textile Technology from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment at CPUT in Cape Town, South Africa. So, I first want to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present virtually at an international conference like this. I'm so excited to share with you my thoughts on the paper, and it's on need for inclusion of sustainability within the curriculum. So, as we all know, that the word or the term sustainability or the idea of sustainability, the concept of sustainability has been going around for more than over a decade, and it's becoming slowly a concern, especially in the field of clothing and textiles, when it comes to our future. And as most of us would know, that that's the second highest pollutant in the world. The United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development also lays out global and local challenges that we as human beings are facing, and it says that it needs transformation towards sustainable development. Clothing, as such, is one of the basic necessities of a human being for their survival on the planet. Therefore, organizations are trying to understand that sustainability is not about being cost effective, it's not about making or reusing products, but it's all about a long term continued prosperity of human being, of the future generations. So the study is focused on around the need and importance for inclusion of sustainability within the engineering curriculum, which will not only add to the knowledge of students, but it will also build awareness. It will also let them lead or adopt smart ways to usage of clothing, which means minimize buying and maximize using of the same clothing for a longer period of time. The literature has quite so agreed on it. As educational institutions, they can play a pivotal role in training the younger generation to address this critical issue. The first issue is obviously to serve the existing society, and the other is to challenge the society to shape a better future. Researchers have also noticed that sustainability is underrepresented in the curriculum, and it is therefore crucial to introduce environmental and social perspectives in the curricula of our current and future graduates, also known as sustainable curricula. How much ever the efforts that we are putting into reform engineering curricula to include sustainable development, it has been primarily seen that it's focused around developing individual courses on sustainability rather than integrating the concept of sustainability into existing courses. Hence, the need to include the concept of sustainability within the university curriculum comes to feature. The movement that was supported by the United Nations called Education for Sustainable Development, it also advocates for holistic integration of sustainability, and it requires us to look forward in future and find the way further. Now, this is just a figure of life cycle assessment where it says what do we purchase, how much we consume, and what do we dispose, and how do we reuse in order to make sure that the cycle of using a clothing goes over a certain period of time and not just buy and use as fast fashion and then dispose it away. So the methodology that I adopted for the paper was to understand engineering students' perception of sustainability both as a professional and as a user. The sampling of the study that was carried out was for a new qualification named as Advanced Diploma in Clothing and Textile Technology, and it was run for this year for the very first time. The course is similar to a BTEC qualification, the final year BTEC qualification, with an age group of students that are ranged roughly between 21 to 25. These are working professionals, and they have evening classes that they attend. So I had around 13 students in. It was the first batch, and the questionnaire was carried out in the form of a Google form, and it was a combination of qualitative and quantitative questions, and there were a range of open-ended, closed, and descriptive type questions as well. However, um, the student anonymity was kept under wraps at all times. None of their personal information was disclosed at any point of time. Coming to the results and discussion. So, the study that asked participants their understanding of sustainability in the clothing and textile sector within the engineering curriculum. It was carried out to obtain feedback from students on how they view sustainability and the need to include it into the development of a course on sustainability within this field, that is clothing and textile. And the responses that we found out were analyzed using descriptive statistics, and however, they were presented over five broad categories. First one was understanding of sustainability, where the students portrayed through answering questions that they had some sort of awareness and they understood the keywords and concepts in the narrative that defines sustainability. In purchasing behavior, the responses said that major students um, were not only aware of the term sustainability, but they were sort of conscious buyers. It was interesting to see that they were reusing and redesigning their clothes to make it look, street fashion and fast fashion, something that they can overuse and reuse again and again. The roles and responsibilities, there were quite a few questions that were asked, and some of them was who is responsible for ensuring eco-friendly production methods that needs to be implemented in clothing and textiles, and most of them felt that it was government and not the industry as such. Um, some of them, another question when asked that in the product, which section is responsible for the product stage, where most of them weren't unsure. So the answers were quite a bit haphazard. So surely they didn't understand how sustainability links to a product or to the production stage. In sustainability post COVID-19, we asked them that, in their opinion, how do they think that the pandemic will affect the sustainability of clothing and textile sector. So overall, they said that well, that was an open-end question. So people, they said people are unsure of the future. Some of them said they don't know. Some of them said they need to be more focused on staying afloat than on sustainability. Some of them said that hopefully more thought will go into producing clothing, from farming, designing, and the whole chain involved. Some of them said due to the lockdown, many companies have closed already as the demand increases. So there were a mixed response. And so overall, there was an indication of the impact of pandemic, and they were aware what this is going to do with regard to the industry, that is clothing and textiles. And in the fifth segment on concepts to consider in the coursework development, there were many top-notch responses that comes up that that we need to come up with the ways of prohibiting companies from dumping their waste in landfills. Some of them said that laws should be enforced more and more to suppliers to adhere to social, to ethical sourcing, and some of them said ways in which they can make people understand about sustainability, because some of them stay in locations where the 90% of the people, especially the youth, are not aware of it. So in conclusion, the students felt that the need for sustainability education and waste management not just is going to bring, not shouldn't just be brought into daily use, but also to be at par in the global market, both in terms of knowledge and product development. So in conclusion, this study forms the foundation of providing key skills to the sustainability course development for clothing and textile industry. The responses show that the participants are aware of and understand the fundamentals and keywords or concepts in the narrative that define sustainability within the student cohort. And from the responses to the questions, it is apparent that the knowledge gaps and the understanding of sustainability among the students are analogous, and thus it is just the beginning of addressing the topic of sustainability within the curriculum, and as based on students from the clothing and textile background with a differing knowledge and sustainable background. So the gaps that we found out that the study needs to further add or connect to the dots, which are the needs of the planet in terms of the three domains, which is human, natural, and financial aspect, with the life cycle of the product through use, disuse, or reuse. There were a small bunch of students in the new qualification. Hence, if there was a bigger group, then probably the responses could have been diverse. So, I feel that the research for needs to be carried out further to see maybe next year and in consecutive years to see what the outcome looks like. And it could have been great if there could have been a possible comparison between two similar level qualifications, highlighting sustainability in the curriculum, which is probably something to think of. So the recommendations for future research is studying a broader sample across different universities. Additional research could continue to examine the variables that utilizing samples representing male and female, so putting it or categorizing it into genders and diverse disciplines across institutions. And future research should explore assessment of environmental knowledge and additional research on methods of encouraging greater sustainable apparel purchasing behavior, such as peer pressure, which might motivate the students to act more sustainably. So these are some of the references that I have used in the paper. And thank you again. Thank you very much to the listeners, to the presenters, all the best. And thank you again to the organizers. And if there are any questions, I'm available to answer. Thank you and have a good sessions for the colleagues.